What's up, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. Time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. Let's get into the books I read this week. We're going to start over in DC Comics. We have Batman issue number 140. That's right, we're on 140 for Chip Zdarsky right now. You know he couldn't stay away from the Joker. That's where we are right now. The Joker is actually attacking like a former mentor of Bruce Wayne / Batman, and he picked up on all the clues. He's going to infiltrate this, and Joker's basic idea right here is to pull out Zur-En-Ra. He wants to have that battle again and see what the outcome is. Of course, he lures Batman into like a fun house of all these dangerous things, trying to take him out. And then we're also having this mental battle right now. Batman's kind of being sucked in, like the actual Bruce Wayne version of him, being sucked in internally, and like Zur-En-Ra, all the different iterations are teaming up against him again mentally. So he's having this battle with Joker physically, and he's having this battle internally as well. It's a pretty cool little thing. We see a lot of the old-time Batmans or other versions of Batman that we saw, I think, in an anniversary issue that Chip had recently, when he was closing out like that second or that ending of the whole failsafe arc. We had a little trip down Batman memory lane. We get a lot of that inside here as well. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I will say we're kind of like reliving those moments a little bit inside of here, and now Joker's here, so it's like extremely familiar territory. And that wasn't super, I don't know, it didn't pay off a whole lot, but it was just cool, and it's full of action, and it's drawn so well. And yeah, you know, I'm just having a good time reading Batman. I think Detective is the more interesting book, but this book has a lot of like fan service inside of it, if that makes sense. So if you've been liking Chip's run, I think you're gonna like what's going on inside of here. If you like the art, it's absolutely killer in this issue as well. So Batman number 140, not bad. What'd you guys think? All right, let's go over to Marvel. We're going to talk about Daredevil issue number 4. So I still don't know how we actually got here from Chip's run. I remember reading that run. I remember reading the last issue, and I don't exactly know how we got to issue number 1, but we have another Father Matt, and he's actually working at a church. He's raising some kids right now. They're kind of like misfit toys in a way. So he's trying to keep them out of trouble, and we touch on a little bit of that in this issue and the previous ones. This father, though, Matt, he actually realizes he is Daredevil, and all these memories start flooding back in, and he takes up the mantle again, and he starts like fighting crime, messing with Elektra. In this issue, he's going to stop a really powerful gang who's working with Bullseye, and they're trying to stop this like assassination attempt. And so Daredevil's like hitting the streets and trying to get some more information, which is a pretty cool thing. He's also battling like these demons, and this is this issue where we've seen, I think, the second demon now in this run, where it possesses somebody, and he has to basically exorcise the demon from this very familiar ally that he's had in the past. And so I think the story is intriguing, but I just don't know how we got here. I think I'm missing something, or they're just kind of glossing over it and expecting us to kind of forget about it. But I can't put the pieces together from Chip's run to this run, and it's really bugging me because they keep reminding us that, oh, this person doesn't know who I am, and I need to like play it cool because I have this history with them, but they don't quite know it yet, so I have to like play stupid. So that part's a little bit elusive to me. If you can clear that up for me, do so down below in the comments. But yeah, Daredevil, it's a pretty cool book. I mean, it's interesting. There's some cool exorcism kind of things going on, cool artwork. You know, we'll see where it goes. Coming out of Chip's run, it's a little bit different, and it's got like this weird, again, like origin for this particular character, but number 4 is all right. What'd you guys think? All right, let's go over to X-Men issue number 29. So if you're a big Doom fan, I think you're gonna love this issue. First off, the art in here is absolutely spectacular. I'm loving everything about this one. It's actually drawn by Joshua Cassara. Gary Duggan is on the writing for this one. We're actually being introduced to Doom's team that he put together. He met a whole bunch of different people in his home country, and he's putting them together, trying to create kind of like his own X-Men in a way, and he's gonna use the team he put together to, you know, take out his foes. And he kind of has a sparring match against the X-Men that we see inside this issue. You know, we have like Wolverine, we have Miss Marvel, we have some other folks as well, and they spar off, and it is a pretty cool little battle. But I mean, it's all really just a big test to see if they can, I don't know, maybe cooperate at the end of the day. And so they have this big fancy dinner at the end where they have basically like a proposition. Maybe we should join forces when crap hits the fan. Like, you can count on me and my guys to help you out. There's some cool little one-liners back and forth between Doom's team and our X-Men as well. So pretty interesting book. We'll see where it goes. It was a cool little battle issue, drawn beautifully. The writing was pretty cool. Some little snarky things back and forth between the different team members. But yeah, just kind of spot checking X-Men, seeing where it's going in general. general, issue number 29, not bad. Then we have Avengers issue number 8, just kind of hitting the big team books this week, seeing what's going on. The Avengers run is a run that I really wasn't too excited about every time it came out. I was excited for a new Avengers, but it was really predictable. I thought it was a really interesting way to do the first arc. It wasn't too exciting. It just introduced a couple bad guys, or a team of bad guys that we took care of. And this issue here is actually picking back up on the Kang thread they started back in issue number 1, bringing back this team that was hunting Kang down. And this team was a team that Kang was warning us about. Now they're back, and we get a little bit of their origin story, kind of. Not really an origin story, but a touch base about who they are. They're essentially like godlike beings. They're highly advanced. They've been sparring off against each other. They have all these different relationships and political things between all of them. They're after Kang right now, and they're actually attacking Scarlet Witch and Vision because they know that they have Kang and they want him back. So they initially start attacking Scarlet Witch and Vision. They put up the best fight they can. Some of these fighters are pretty noble, and it's like a 7-on-2 battle right now, and the others are like, listen, this is not even fair. We're going to let just a few of us take you two on right now. But towards the end of the book, some reinforcements show up. It's going to be kind of cool to see where it goes from there. So I will say that we are on issue number 8 right now. And it's still not like a really interesting story, I don't think. I don't really quite know the direction we're going in right now. There's a lot of interesting new characters that have come and gone already. I haven't felt like the progression or the buildup or a culmination of all the different things that have happened in the past 7 issues build up to anything so far. These people are trying to look for Kang for whatever reasons, and they think the Avengers have him, and now they're attacking the Avengers. Why? I don't think it's really been explained yet. Where's Kang right now? I don't even remember. So there's a lot of threads piling up, but I don't see it going anywhere, which is really kind of annoying to me. It's drawn pretty well, and it's an Avengers story. So here it is, issue number 8. What'd you guys think? All right, we're going to jump over to Image Comics. We have Our Bones Dust, issue number 1. First off, I saw the cover and I'm like, okay, this looks pretty interesting. We have like this apocalyptic thing going on, some cool artwork. We have Ben Steinbeck on the writing, Dave Stewart and Russ Wooten as well. And so I'm like, okay, cool. This is a great supportive team, an art team in general. I think Ben is actually doing some of the art in here, and Dave and Russ are doing the coloring and lettering, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a pretty cool book. If you like apocalypse style books, if you like the world gone to hell, there's actually an alien race coming down to collect samples about this quadrant of the galaxy. And there are some humans that are alive right now, but they're like extremely barbaric. Think like well beyond like Mad Max. We have different tribes living together, cutting off individual pieces, or cutting off their like arms and legs and eating that to survive. So there's a cool cannibalism element in here as well. So if you like that kind of stuff and tribes battling, you're going to get a lot of that inside this book, but you also get the cool perspective of these aliens trying to catalog life forms on Earth, and they kind of stay away from the humans because of how barbaric they are at this point. Now we do follow this little, presumably a child, and he's taking on some of these other tribes out there, stealing their water and whatnot, and he seems like he's very capable. And of course there's a monster they introduce in here as well, who's going to be the next big threat going forward. So it was an interesting book. It read really quickly, cool scenario, interesting story, cool artwork. Our Bones Dust, issue number 1, maybe worth a check out. Kodransky on Blood Commandment, issue number 2 of 4. This book is phenomenal. I love this one so much. Now, if you read issue number 1, you know that there are some deep, dark secrets that our father character inside this book has, and him and his child live out in the middle of nowhere for a very good reason, and it's to reduce that chance that he's going to just take out somebody because he's a monster himself. But a former villain comes back into play, hunting our main character down and his son, and so we get to see a little bit more about this guy, and we also get to see the sheriff and the deputies, whatever this town, do a little bit of investigative work on the murders that were happening in town, and they're all leading back to our main character as well. So we have a lot of different forces kind of culminating towards the end of this book, and it's really cool. The action scenes are unbelievable in here. I just love the perspective that he has for these big splash pages. It's just so cool. I just love the coloring and the lighting and everything. Just done a really, really good job with all that. And these cool splashes of color too, just kind of out of nowhere. It's mostly like a black and gray kind of a comic, but then you get these cool splashes in there that really kind of like brighten up the scene, obviously. So really cool book. Can't wait for issue number 3. It's only 4 issues long. We're on issue number 2 now. Make sure to check it out. All right, continuing on Image, we have Sacrificers issue number 5 from Rick Remender. Very stylish book. I love the color palette and the art in this book. Every page, they give you something just gorgeous to look at. And this is a really cool issue because in the previous issues, we learned a little bit more about the devious nature of the gods, the people who rule this world in general, they actually ask for a sacrifice from their peasants down below. And that sacrifice was revealed a couple of issues ago. Basically, they use their peasants' like hopes and dreams. They solidify that. They actually extract that from them in a really brutal way. And they drink to that. They actually toast to it, and it revitalizes them. It actually brings back their youthful glow, so to speak. The person who invented this methodology, this rejuvenation process, is not getting the respect and admiration that he thinks he deserves. There's a lot of like behind the back talk about overthrowing everybody. And so that's what this book explores here. Kind of the main god in the universe, essentially the sun. His daughter actually follows this disgruntled guy back to his own lair and learns the truth and gets into a lot of trouble towards the end of this book. But again, it's just a beautifully drawn book. The colors are really popping here. And the cliffhanger at the end of this particular issue was something else. So we're on issue number 5 right now. Love the story so far. You guys reading it? What do you think? Next, we have Transformers issue number 3 from Daniel Warren Johnson. What an incredible book this is so far. Loved issue number 1 and 2. Issue number 3 is non-freaking stop. From the moment you turn the first page to the very last panel, some crazy stuff's going on. There's a lot of heart inside this book. There's some moments of reflection. There's some human loss. There's some Autobot loss as well. We get to see Optimus step up inside this issue and befriend some human soldiers, and they all start teaming up in a way to take on this Decepticon threat that's just kind of like brutally murdering everybody on this planet right now. This book is absolutely incredible. The writing, the art, the coloring, everything about it is spectacular. You have to be on this one. Even if you're not a big Transformers fan, you're going to love this just as like a pure, awesome, fun comic book in general. Check it out. Usagi Yojimbo, Ice and Snow. This is part 3 of 5 from Stan Sakai. I've been picking these ones up just because Usagi is just a real wholesome, fun. It's got like a adult element, but it's also kid-friendly as well with the violence and whatnot and the nature just of the writing in general. It's just really cool. It's a nice little reminder that comics can be wholesome and fun at the same time with this little like underlying threat and violence, which makes this book just totally unique compared to everything else that I'm reading right now. Of course, we're following our main villain, Jai. Usagi's trying to rest up in this hut. They had this really intense battle with this Ice Queen, and this Ice Queen is actually coming in contact with Jai, trying to survive. She's actually taking on a lot of his army. They end up having a big duel in this issue as well, and we get to see who actually wins at the end of that. So Usagi and his friend better start healing up and getting ready, man, because an entire army is coming their way in the next coming issues. If you're not on Usagi, it's just a fun, wholesome comic. It has an adult element to it, but it's also cool for kids, I would say. So it's just nice. It's a cool little palate cleanser. Usagi Yojimbo, Ice and Snow, part 3 of 5. Check it out. Matt Kent on sub-genre issue number 2. Now, this is a completely different issue from issue number 1. Issue number 1 was cool because we had this future landscape where this detective was hired to investigate these murders. He had this AI kind of like phone companion with him in the form of a fairy, which can get him into cool places. He teams up with a suspect. They kind of go to the heart of the problem, and he gets sucked into the genre of another story, and he's awakened in there, and everything that we've learned from the first issue is kind of translated into this world. So his AI phone is now like this other little fairy that floats around and like gives him advice and things like that. He's defeating all these like monster orc looking guys, and I think everything can translate pretty much into the real world, or maybe this is just what he's seeing or perceiving in the moment. Maybe it's all in his head, which is where I'm going, I think, in the story. And it was cool, but it was also extremely confusing, like, to know exactly what's happening inside the story. I think the next issue is going to clear a lot of things up. I probably need to read it again, especially the ending, because there's a couple different conversations that he has with other people in this world, which might, provide some context about what exactly is going on. But I feel like we took our main character in whatever state he was in or world he was in, and he's going to be bouncing in and out of all these different areas like a Matrix style thing. And it's going to be fun to see if I can piece this all together. But issue number 2 was good. It wasn't as good as the first issue, probably because I had a lot of questions still coming out of it. Once issue number 3 and 4 come out, it's probably going to clear it up a whole lot more. Matt Kent doing a great job over at Dark Horse again. Check this one out. Then the last book we read this week from Boom Studios is Stuff of Nightmares Sleigh Ride issue number 1. Got it initially for that Jenny Frison cover, but stayed for the story because it's R.L. Stine, and I grew up with Goosebumps when it originally came out. This is a pretty cool book. It's almost like a mixture of a Halloween horror book, obviously, with Stuff of Nightmares, but it's featuring this Santa Claus who kind of goes crazy, loses his job, and starts murdering all these different people around him. He also has hallucinations, different voices in his heads, things like that. And he goes kind of on the spree of like arson and murder. And it was just a really cool story. There's a mall cop in here who kind of gets bested in the beginning of the story, but he tries to redeem himself throughout this book. There's a lot of cool, just like funny moments where he's popping down chimneys or like trying to take out families. He's got a bag of like starving rats that he uses occasionally. Again, he's like lighting things on fire and chasing people around. And of course, he meets a gruesome end in this book as well. So if you're in the stuff of nightmares, if you like R.L. Stine, even if you just like frozen covers, man, grab it for the cover. Check it out though. I thought it was pretty cool. So guys, that's all I read this week. Kind of a small week for me personally, but let me know down below what you read and what your favorite books of the week were. While you're down there, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and check out the membership button as well. I would really appreciate it. But as always, thank you again for watching. See you all in the comments.